When I went to other countries around the world and spoke to them about poverty in England, they thought I was slightly going off the rails. They thought, what's this man talking about? You know, when I was in India and Africa, they did not believe there was such a thing as poverty in England.
But you've shot it, and you've done it with...
and do you know something? If I'd have spent my life photographing poverty in England, I would have had no need to go to war. Poverty is a war in itself. Poverty is a kind of degrading experience. I mean, I grew up in it, so I know what I'm talking about. There are certain subjects I don't want to use the word expert or guru, but I do know about poverty. I know about the smell of it, the aching hunger of it. I know all the vital kind of ingredients of poverty. I would walk into houses in the north of England, and before I'd even got into various rooms, I would smell the poverty in there by them just opening the front door and saying, "Come in." I could smell it.
Right.
You know. So when I went into those houses, I went in with great sensitivity because I understood it. I knew all about, you know, what people's lives were who lived and slept in one room, as I did with my mother and father and brother, with no indoor lavatory, no indoor bathroom, and you know, I knew all about that stuff.
Is this also a question when you take photographs? It feels like it must be that you treat those subjects with the dignity that you would have wanted to have been treated when you were young.
Yeah, because I thought, you know, the last thing I'm going to do is tread on these people's necks with my, you know, a lot of people when they think that a photographer coming into their home, particularly poor people, they have an immediate inferiority complex that this man is an educated man coming in, he knows all about the world and so on. So they didn't know for a second that I'd already trod before them.
Right.
So, you know, when I went into those places, I went in as a humble equivalent of those people, and they respected that. You know, they would say, "Would you like a cup of tea?" And if you said yes, you would have to get your head around that you'd be drinking out of a cup that would be so filthy and so disgusting. You know, you just, there's so much psychology that goes with the next move.
Yes.
As a person, it was all about. I'm not going to say cunning. I would like to eradicate that from your mind. I went in there as a very honest individual, and I went in there, and I thought the more honest, the more, you know, agreeable you are to their circumstances, the more they're going to trust you.
So you would have the tea.
I would have the tea. Yeah,
yes.
I went into a place once where the woman said, "Would you like a cup of tea?" in a very northern accent, and she put the tea water on in a beer can. A big beer can that held 5 litres. And I've got a picture of that beer can on the stove. And behind the kitchen door was a bucket which they used for the toilet with all the ranges of toilet needs. So you can imagine that bucket had everything in it.
Yeah.
And yet I was in that room drinking that tea as if like it was the most delicious cup of tea I've ever had. But you see, it was necessary for me to give those people the trust. So, you know, that's what photography is, not just about photography, it's definitely about the human relationship.